Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is the Music Roundtable. Today on the show, we have Alessandro Limone from metalcore band Careless Sanctions.
Hey, what's up, Randy? How's it going, man? Thanks for having me on.
I wanted to start out by digging into some of your history. What got you into music, and what age did you start singing?
That's a loaded question, man. Uh, well, when I was a kid, my dad, he had this entire bookcase of CDs. My dad's a huge Iron Maiden fan, so he had all the classics in there from Maiden to Metallica, Megadeth, and then bands like Def Leppard, uh, Poison, Motley Crue. So I started listening to music at a really young age, and my dad always had it around. And into high school, I started meeting some friends who started introducing me to heavier music. And so um, I actually didn't even think about singing at first. When I was in high school, I picked up guitar just for like under a year. But the story kind of goes like this. I In high school, um, my brother and his friends would come by our place when I used to live with my parents. And around the time when the game Rock Band came out, um, they wanted to play together. So they would always come over and play, and they never had anybody to sing. So they're like, "Hey, man, do you want to do vocals?" So then I would hop on the mic, and I was okay. But a brother's friend of mine said this thing that will stick to me to this day. Um, and I think we were just singing, it was like a Disturbed song or something. I don't remember what song it was, but he was like, "Hey man," he's like, you suck, man." He's like, he's like, "You just can't do it." Or it was something like that kind of negativity. And for some reason, there was something like so spiteful in that moment with me that I was like, I have to prove this guy wrong. So from there, I started constantly singing on Rock Band. And first, I learned how to scream, and then just do lower octave vocals. And then um, I learned how to scream, and eventually went to a band of my friends when I did that. And then later on in high school, I'm like, okay, I know how to scream. I want to learn how to sing. So then I joined choir, and that taught me how to sing. And then as the years went by, I started to slowly get over the whole singing in front of people, fear and anxiety and all that. So yeah, it was all because somebody in Rock Band told me that I couldn't sing. So then I wanted to prove that person wrong, and then it became something I was really passionate about. Hey, how's it going, Randy? I have no idea what.
You were saying you was trying to scream. You was trying to learn how to scream.
Okay, are you just gonna splice this together? Oh, okay. So, um, I learned how to scream um, just from playing Rock Band and trying to force out of me. I'd watch YouTube videos online and just try and mimic other vocalists. And then eventually I learned how to scream. And then I met some friends who wanted to start a band, who both live in Colorado now. Um, and that was really sick. And then I remember one of the first times I pushed myself too hard, I like coughed up some blood because I was going a little way too hard. But then, uh, like as the years went by, I was like, oh, I want to learn how to sing now. So I joined choir in high school, and then I learned how to sing. And as the years kept moving along, I eventually learned how to sing without the fear and anxiety that you typically get in front of people, since it's like a private thing. Um, and then as like time went on, I just started to learn how to switch between both of them, and that's what I've been practicing ever since.
Awesome. Can you tell me some of your musical influences?
Musical influences. So when I was younger, guys like Phil Labonte from All That Remains was a big influence of mine. Guys like Johnny Davy from Job for a Cowboy, he's not around anymore. Phil Bozeman from Whitechapel, and then guys like Ronnie Canizaro from Born of Osiris, Lucas Magyar from Veil of Maya, Andy Sizik from Monuments, guys like that. Um, just guys that are really, I feel like, that are pushing the boundaries, and that they're always they're managing to do that tango of vocal dynamics between being able to sing and being able to scream.
Can you tell me how the band formed?
Yeah. Um, so a while back in high school, remember how I said I was in a couple bands in high school? So that kind of eventually faded, and I fell out of it for a few years, and then I had this whole uh, point in time where I stopped going to college, and I eventually went back to college. I went to our community college, and I met. Um, I was in. I'll never forget this. I was in a music appreciation class, and the the teacher was like, "Hey, pick a song and play a song for the class for 30 seconds." And so everyone in the class did that. And there was this one guy who he picked this song, and I knew the song because I listened to it that day in the car. I'm not even bullshitting. I It was "Voice of the Soul" by Death, and I just remembered hearing it, and I was like, "This guy knows who Death is. I have to talk to him." So that was Brandon Joda, who's one of our guitarists, and I talked to him. We eventually became friends, and then I remember I went over to his house and we were hanging out. And after I found out he played guitar, and all of a sudden he starts playing Tenacious D songs, and I love Tenacious D so much. So we just started like jamming together to Tenacious D songs, and I just remember having a blast. And I was like, man, I feel like I'm gonna have the best time of my life, like writing music with this person. So from there, we became good friends and started writing. And then over the years, we started to pick up different members, and people went in and out of the band for a bunch of different reasons until we got the lineup that we have now. That was 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
What city are you based out of?
We like to say Chicago, but my buddy Sean will say that's not true. We're from the suburb of Lombard. That's where we rehearse out of like a storage mart. So most of us are kind of scattered around the suburbs of Illinois, but Lombard is usually what we say.
And how's the music scene?
It's pretty good. I think the scene in Chicago is really great. We have venues like Reggie's Rock Club, WC's Social Club, Cobra Lounge, The Forge, House of Blues, which are pretty iconic venues. Some of them local and some of them bigger scale. Um, but it's really great. There's a whole other side of the scene that we haven't even really tapped into yet, around like Bloomington and Normal. Um, where there's venues like Apollo Theater and stuff, but the scene is definitely thriving. I was just at the Forge like a couple weeks ago. Tons of mosh pits, circle pits, lots of local bands always trying to help each other improve. Great photographers, just lots of really passionate people, which is I absolutely love that. I think if I ever moved, I would miss the hell out of it because I think it's that good.
I wanted to dig into your new song you just released last week, Cognitive Ability. And I actually looked up the definition of this. So it says for cognitive ability, skills involved in performing the task associated with perception, learning, memory, understanding, awareness, reasoning, judgment, intuition, and language. So, um, you have a line in there, like towards the end of the song, it says, "Open up your eyes and see your cognitive ability." Can you explain the song a little bit about that?
Sure. No, that's really cool. By the way, that you checked out, like you called out a specific line. Um, so the whole song is basically like this struggle between trying to cope and being frustrated about the one track minded perspective of people. I've had a lot of experiences in life where people they just they're impossible to convince otherwise, or they either always think they're in the right about something and they just fail to see a different perspective or even try to see it from the other side. So we were writing about that, and I forget who came up with the song title because it was initially like a working title, and I was like, you know what, I think I can work with that. And then I wrote around it, and through the writing process and through like the studio tracking process, there was this whole uh, there were multiple times where I was having like issues with a couple of friends who I don't really talk too much anymore. We're just like really nailing it in harder about how frustrating it is to deal with people who just will not open up to a different perspective. So even down to the cover art, the cover art, we worked with our art designer to Davey Brown. He's a really talented guy. Um, to have different colors, like strong colors like red and green, to literally show like the kind of like dichotomy between two different perspectives of thought, like two very strong conflicting colors. So it's kind of like a open your eyes and realize what's going on. Like, don't you understand like what's happening around you and what it's causing, or who it's affecting, things like that. That's kind of what it was going towards in the message.
Yeah, and it seems like sometimes there's too much static around you to actually see what's going on. You're being distracted by too much stuff, you know?
Completely agree. It's there's it's very easy to get caught up in like the routine of things, and there are people that are just some people expect so much expectation and they might not have as much of that bandwidth or static, and so when you have all that static, you're just like, I'm just confused and frustrated and I don't know what's going on, and I feel like these things are falling away from me and I don't know how to control it and I can't.
Open up your mind and say misguided sensitivity. Open up your eyes and say you're gonna ability.
Can you talk about the show you're having November 17th?
Yeah. So that we're playing with Great American Ghost 156 Silence, Hazing Over, and there's going to be one more band on there, but they haven't announced it yet, so I don't know if that announcement will be out by the time this comes out. But that show is going to be fun. If you know who Shane Merrill is, who runs he's a promoter for Cobra Lounge and Reggie's Rock Club, who are two of our venues in the area. I've been emailing Shane for months trying to get into a different venue because our whole plan is to build this network of promoters, right? Just so you can have different people to talk to, different connections. And so we finally got a gig at Cobra Lounge. And we were so stoked about it. So that's going to be a really fun one because we're planning to play a new set there. We're playing with new bands, and Great American Ghost, I know they just hopped off of a tour with Polaris and Alpha Wolf, who are two very, very like hot bands right now in like the modern metal and progressive metal scene. So that's super cool. They're a very talented group of guys. So I'm super stoked to be playing with them.
What do you have planned for the rest of 2022?
Rest of 2022, honestly, our plan is to right now we're finishing up our EP because we don't have that many songs out as it is. We got 2 songs out so far, and so the plan is to buckle down and figure out whether this is going to be a 5 or 6 track EP, finish up the pre-production stage of that, and then put in our deposit and start tracking and finalizing things so we can start doing everything in Q1 of next year. That's the plan.
Where can we get a hold of you guys? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
Our most active stuff is on Facebook and Instagram. But if you want links to everything, our link tree is the place to go. It's linktr.ee/careless sanctions. It's like a big hub that we have, and it has everything. But if you want to interact with us, some of us have Twitter, but Facebook and Instagram are the places to be.
That's all the questions I have. Thanks for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you for having me on it, Randy. Really, this is super cool, and I'm just glad that Steve even met with you from Qualia. That was super cool, and I'm just grateful. And I guess as a final line of thought that I would like to end on, I just wanted to say I never even imagined that my band would be at the stage that we're at now, even as a local band. And I never thought that I would do half the things that I've done up until this point. You know, I'm a kid with a guy, I'm 28, a guy with tons of allergies and asthma and all this stuff, you know, things that you think would hold you back from doing something like what I do. And so I guess my message is if you really want to do something, just go for it. Just try not to think about it so much and all the logistical stuff. Just try it. Just keep trying it, and don't let other people tell you what you have to do or what they think you can and can't do.